a different kind of reading. Ruth 2. Provision appears after the return. The spine of this chapter is what happens after an honest return, when nothing has been fixed yet. The symbolics in this chapter are very important. To save you the trouble of reading ahead, a field is a place where provision is possible but not controlled. We're going to use the word gleaning, which means receiving what is allowed but not what is claimed. We're going to talk about Boaz, and he represents the authority that protects without exploiting. We're going to talk about grace, which of course means favor that cannot be demanded or earned. And we are also going to talk about mealtime, which is inclusion before security. Let's look at the first verse. Naomi has a relative connected to her former husband. He is a man of standing, and his name is Boaz. The text notes him now before he appears, and that is because provision often exists before we recognize it. Into verse 2, Ruth asks permission. She is not asking for certainty. She will go to the fields and gather what has been left behind. She does not ask where the blessing is. She simply asks where she may work. Naomi consents, so movement is allowed. Then in verse 3, Ruth goes out, she begins to gather, and she comes to a field that belongs to Boaz. The text does not call this planning. It frames it as happening. Boaz arrives from Bethlehem. He speaks a blessing over the workers. They answer him in the same spirit. This is a field where order still exists. In verse 5, Boaz notices Ruth. He asks who she belongs to. He's looking for the context. The overseer explains who she is. She is the Moabite woman, the one who returned with Naomi. Her identity is already known by her loyalty. She asked permission. She has worked steadily. She rested briefly. Nothing about her presence was demanding. Boaz then speaks directly to her. He tells her to remain and not move fields, to not expose herself. For the disciple, provision and protection are linked. Then he places her within boundaries. Water is available, safety is assured, she is allowed to receive without claiming. Ruth bows. She asks why she has found favor. She names herself honestly, a foreigner. For the disciple, grace does not deny reality, it meets it. Then Boaz explains he has heard her story, what she left, who she stayed with, her loyalty has been seen. He names the source for the covering. He does not claim credit, he recognizes the alignment, though. Ruth receives the words, she does not exaggerate them, she is grateful to be noticed, even as a servant. Boaz invites her to eat. She is included without needing to be elevated. She eats and is satisfied, and she has more than she needs at the moment. When she returns to work, Boaz instructs the men to leave her unchallenged. For the disciple, this means that provision does not always announce itself. Sometimes it makes space. Then he goes further. He tells them to leave extra behind on purpose. Ruth works until evening. She gathers far more than expected. Effort here is still required, but it is no longer a barren situation. She returns to Naomi. She brings what remains from her meal. Provision becomes shared. Naomi asks where she worked. Ruth answers simply. She names Boaz. Ah, the name matters now. Naomi recognizes what Ruth did not yet see. This kindness was not accidental. The living and the dead are still connected. Ruth recounts Boaz's instructions, which were to stay close and to remain. For the disciple, this means consistency is part of the protection. Naomi confirms it. This is wise and this is safe. The alignment is reinforced. In verse 23, Ruth remains in the field through the season. She stays with Naomi. Nothing outwardly resolves yet here, but provision has entered the story, and it has not left.